Hi guys, this is Lachelle from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I'm back with a new video. This is my October wrap-up, where I talk about the last of the books I read in the month of October. As I said, I'm still doing Herkia, the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, though I don't know that any white prop books fall in here, but I'm also doing the Love in the Night read-along, readathon, which was only about a week long, so I think only the first book I'm going to be talking about fits for that. That week was mostly in the first half of the month. So without further ado, let's get into it. Also, if you see tears in my eyes and discreetly attempt to wipe, it's because of allergies. I don't think any of these books made me cry from memory, but let's talk about the next book that I finished this month, and that was Her Feral Beast. That was book 1 in her Vicious Beast series. If you remember the mid-month wrap-up, I talked about Her Vicious Beast, the beginning, a novella that starts the whole series. This is officially book 1, a novel length, and I was not disappointed. This is where I think the series starts to earn its new adult age bracket. In the first book, as a reminder, this series we're following Aurelia, who has been basically ostracized from her community that she grew up with, the Snakes. This is a paranormal romance series I picked up, and a, what do they call it? Why Choose? And male, female, male. So Aurelia lives in a society where shifters exist, and they can be either prey or predators. And she is born of the king, ruler, whatever, of the Snake clan. And once she comes of age, and it becomes clear that she is abnormal, and because of that her father ostracizes her, and therefore all of the Snakes do. He puts her out of the house that she grew up in, and now she's living in some shack back of her aunt's land, barely able to feed and take care of herself. She is not to acknowledge the fact that she has 5 mates, which is also abnormal. She's not to acknowledge her powers or abilities, or to let anybody know that she was formerly part of the Snake clan. Unfortunately, this goes on until she is legally an adult, and she had made plans to go off to a human college because, you know, we're in kind of like a modern day world and humans exist. They know about all of these shifters and things like that, but the shifter society is kind of separate and away from everyone else, if you will. So because of that, she has made plans to, like I said, go to a human college as soon as she becomes legally of age. Just before that date, her birthday, her father has one last trick up his sleeve. All of this time since he kicked her out at like 14 or something like that of the house, he's been occasionally hiring her for jobs, not really paying her, but forcing her to do these jobs to, for the most part, heal people, because that's one of her abilities. But he hires her, he volunteers her to do this last job for this rich old man who's also a shifter, and that guy wants her to heal one of his, oh god, what's the word? Prisoners. One of his prisoners. And while she's down there, she gets to know some of the other prisoners, and then as she leaves, she finds out that there's a whole double cross with her father and this older guy, and then there's a fire and the prisoners all escape. I can't tell you anymore without giving much away with this series, but yeah, she's now on the run, and everyone thinks that she killed somebody and set this house on fire. And now all of her mates are aware of her existence. However, none of them really want much to do with her. This is a spicy romance, I guess you could say, definitely for adults. The sex scenes happen more now, and they're between multiple people. So the one sex scene that was in that first novella was more masturbatory than anything else. That is no longer the case with this. Now she is forced to be going to this Animus Academy, and so now there's like a school setting, kind of boarding school, but kind of college, university, so a mix of the two. Like I said, it's new adult. They're not like teenagers anymore for the most part, but she's also locked up away from the prisoners that are trying to catch her after they broke out. So, but she's trying to keep all of her secrets because, you know, she's knows that should anyone know, you know, about her abilities or where she came from or who her mates are, they will be not only trying to lock her up, but also keep her, you know, as an imprisoned breeder for the rest of her life, which she's just trying to be a normal 20-something. This one gets more violent. What I have since realized with reading the others, each book is focusing on a particular mate. In this one, we're getting to know more about Savage, who is a wolf shifter and a little crazy. He seems at once juvenile, but also very animal-like. We begin to learn, like I said, more about her mates. Okay, so one thing I've been not doing is binging series. And I used to do this if I could, just pick up the next book immediately. But I stopped doing this under the influence of BookTube, to be perfectly honest. I'm not upset about it necessarily, but I don't finish series the way I did before I was doing BookTube, and I've been telling myself just read what you want, right? Pick up the next book immediately if you can. I know like the library slows me down as well, but like that's not the case here. I'm buying these ebooks via Amazon. There are physical copies of these, but I don't have the money to buy them at this point in time. But I think I will. I like the covers. The author, E.P. Bali, does the sprayed edges herself, and I'm so into it. I want to reread. At this point, I'm talking about I'm further ahead. Not all of the books are out, but I think it's the fifth book in the series is coming out next year. The fourth novel, and I'm in. I'm locked in. I want to know how these relationships go. So I want to give this like a 4.5. So this, for The Love in the Night, this was the last book that fit in the week, though I kept going, obviously. Bingo board. For The Scavenger Hunt, definitely Magic Touch and Let's Fly, Getting Horny. So, I mean, what does it not feel here? So what does it not fulfill? For the bingo board, I don't know that this counts as a new to me author anymore. Normally I would be like, no, the first book is the only book that counts. But I'm not normally, like, I literally binged this book the day after I finished that last novella, or the day of, like that night, because it was a novella. I think I started it on the 12th and then finished it on the 13th. So, and the 12th is when I read the novella. So, yeah. Read a sequel. It counts for, I'm looking at all of the bingo prompts. Read a sequel. Disability, mental health, rep. Read an ebook. It counts for. Yeah, so that's the last book I finished for the Love in the Night read-along. But obviously, I didn't stop reading this series because I'm thoroughly enjoying it, right? And one thing I did enjoy about this book and the next couple was her making friends. She meets other girls. She gets really close with one almost immediately, and honestly, their relationship kind of reminds me of Wednesday and that other girl, the one who was her roommate, but also a wolf. As we move into the next book, this is her Rabid beast, and at the end of the previous book, we get some revelations, which I appreciate. I guess technically it ended on a cliffhanger, and this starts off pretty much right where that leaves off. There is a question answered, and again, I appreciate that. One of the questions I was asking earlier, and she's still trying to fit in, though she's doing better now. She's become more confident, and I think part of this is just being a young lady. She gets to go to classes and learn about her kind and history, and use her abilities and talk to people who know about these things. She's getting some counseling in this one, and it's hit or miss. It's up to you to decide if it's helpful. She's learning that there are people who have her back, who are in her corner, and like doing young women, young lady things. Like, she has this female presenting group of friends now, and they are like, you know, teaching her about makeup and going out shopping and gossiping about boys. And not in a super cliche way. Like, when I list them like that, it seems very cliche, but it's not. And, you know, I'm very happy for her because she was isolated and neglected and emotionally and mentally abused and manipulated, gaslighted all over the place. And, you know, she has self-esteem issues and self-doubt issues and whatnot. It's just a lot going on with this poor girl, and some of that is being healed. So in that sense, I appreciate it. The growth of some of the relationships with some of her soul bonds is great to see, where the E rating keeps going up. It's staying spicy. We're just having more and more sex. And the chemistry is there. It's building with those who want to build it. It's very interesting also for the mates who are like, nah, I'm not interested. One in particular, but there's two who are just like, one seems asexual. I'm not sure. Maybe demisexual, but some like it's not. And then his animal is one that you really have to scratch your head. Like, how would that work? Oh, I haven't mentioned this at all, but there's no bestiality. We're not having sex in animal form here. Just FYI. not happening. We learn a little bit more about the academy. There's some mysteries going on there, and as stuff starts happening, we start learning how the academy was made, and more about the headmaster and the deputy headmaster and why they're in these positions. Is very interesting. This also ends in a little bit of a cliffhanger, not as big as one as the last time, but this is more of a battle, and Aurelia is in it herself, not just running away and hiding to defend herself. So yeah, we kind of end in this with everybody knowing her secrets, at least the big one of what she is, and hinting at some of her abilities. And we get to see more of the rulers of the shifter societies, the kings and queens, and some of their motivations and how they are politically aligned with her father, the king of the serpents. So definitely into it. Definitely a 4.5 still. I think things are going to get a little more adult, a little more serious. There's been some mentions and accusations about some of her mates and their careers. I don't know how else to put it. One of them has been said to be a mob boss, and that one has felt like a stretch. We know all 5. She knows who all 5 are. Though the 5th is still a bit of a secret of his identity and his abilities. At this point, he's the only one not at the academy. So, yeah, it's very interesting. There is, I gotta say, also, torture in this one. Some of it on page, some of it referred to, some of it to our main characters, some of it to background characters, so just be aware of that. And yeah, I definitely started, I paused after this because I was like, I can't stay with this series forever. I have some books that I had out from the library that I really wanted to get to, and they were coming up on the end of the holds, and one of those was Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Finally, this is book 2 in the Alex Stern series. Book 1 was Ninth House. I've had this book out all over a year. And this was one of the 2 books earlier this year where I made a self-destruct video. And that was exclusive for my patrons. I will probably make it public soonish. But I gave this a 4 stars, and this also wound up being my autumn book for Herked. The prompt being to read a book for each season set in the season that you're reading it. So, because this is a Herked prompt, I will be talking about this fully in that vlog, so look forward to that. Hopefully coming soon, but I don't know because it's not going well. But yeah, so the last book I finished this month was a surprise. I was not planning on it. My other videos, I'm not just a booktube channel. I do tarot and oracle card stuff, and then some witchy and herbalist things as well. All of my interests, and some of them were business related. And in the month of October, Amethyst Ascension, Rochelle, in September she started this kind of monthly challenge thing, to somewhat connected with tarot, oracle, but also with witchcraft or paganism. And in October, she started partnering with others, and Carrie's mystical musing, the two of them together created this idea of Ancestor Work October, and there's a digital journal and all of that stuff. I have never done ancestor work. I was not really interested until last year around this time, obvious reasons. And I only did a little bit. I'm not going to go into details about this because there's a whole video about Ancestor Work October coming if you're interested. But I recently, earlier this year, I heard that Goodchilde had put out 2 books, and one of them was the book of the Ancestors, A Guide to Magic, Rituals, and Your Family History. And I, while doing Ancestor Work October, was reminded of it, and so I looked in the library, and there was an ebook version, and I sped through this. I kid you not. I give it 4 stars. It's very beginner friendly, which is what I needed. It's not a lot of detail, but just enough to like get you started if ancestor work is something, or ancestor veneration, ancestor devotion is something that you are interested in, and doing anything with your ancestors. As some of you may know, I had 2 family members pass away, my grandmother and my uncle on the same side of the family. So this kind of work came at the right time, and actually my uncle passed away earlier in October. So I was definitely more interested at this point, and this book definitely helped a lot. Maybe as a channel for grief and that energy, but also knowing that down the road I can come back to it. It's a good reference. We get some nice practices, very simple rituals and ideas for like an ancestral grimoire, and I really want to take that and run with it. And ways you can research your ancestors, and this, helped round out some knowledge so I can do the prompts for Ancestor Work October, which I did. I definitely have referred back to it a couple of times since then. So it's time to get my own copy, honestly. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I might up that at some time in the future, but for now, that's good enough for me. But yeah, so that is everything I read in the month of October, and the last of the books I read for Love in the Night. I'm going to, I'll put my stats thingy here from Storygraph, since they just do that. You can see everything and whatnot. It was a good month. I didn't read as much, or I didn't read what I had planned to, but I read good, and I'm happy with what I read, even with all those novellas in the beginning. But yeah, guys, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you are new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. I do have a wrap up of my Remix Classics readathon coming, so look out for that. And guys, the Herkiad vlogs should be showing up shortly, as well as I will continue my recent reads for any books that have nothing to do with Herkiad. But yeah, guys, links in the description to everything I've mentioned or as listed. Links to my Etsy shop where I make all natural bath and body products for magical and mundane purposes, and offer tarot and oracle card readings should you be interested. Links to my Storygraph and Goodreads accounts if you'd like to friend me there. There's also links to my Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. There's my Amazon wishlist. if you're feeling generous. But anyway, that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.